Reed Hall, home of Roger Nowell, the Justice of Peace for Pendle. Roger Nowell questioned Abraham Law, the son of John Law, the peddler who was bewitched by Alison Device. Alison Device was also questioned at Reed Hall, where in her statement confessed to having a spirit in the shape of a black dog. There is nothing left of the original hall that Roger Nowell occupied. The current hall was built between 1818 to 1825 for John Fort, a wealthy partner in a calico textile printing firm. Ashler House, where on the 2nd of April 1612, two of the chief protagonists, Old Demdike, Elizabeth Southerns, and Old Chattox, Anne Whittle, were taken there for examination of their evidence by the local justice, Roger Nowell of Reed Hall. James Device arrived at the rear of Carr Hall to beg for some food when Anne Townley shouted at James, accusing him and his mother Elizabeth Device of stealing peat for a fire, and bid him to be gone through the door. And withal, as he went forth through the door, the said Mistress Townley gave him a knock between the shoulders. Nicholas Starkey inherited Clemworth Hall when two of his children, Anne, aged about 10, and John, 2 years older, began having fits in 1595. Their father spent £200 on doctors with no success and became convinced they were possessed by the devil. In desperation, Nicholas Starkey approached Edmund Hartley, a magician and traveling conjurer who was in the neighborhood, and asked him for help. Using charms and herbal potions, Hartley was able to calm the children but not cure them completely. Starkey paid 40 shillings per year for Hartley's services, but he demanded more. Starkey refused, whereupon Hartley threatened him. That afternoon, 3 other children in the house, Margaret and Eleanor Herdman, and Ellen Holland, a maid, Jane Ashton, and a relative, Margaret Byram, also became affected. Nicholas Starkey suspected that Hartley was by then part of the problem. Hartley was arrested and sent to Lancaster Castle jail. At his trial in March 1597, Starkey testified that the previous autumn, while in the woods at Huntroyd, Hartley had drawn a circle with many crosses and partitions. Starkey's evidence led to Edmund Hartley being sentenced to death by hanging for practicing witchcraft. Roger Nowell was closely related to the Starkeys. Roger Nowell would have followed the trial of Edmund Hartley closely, with Huntroyd Hall being in close proximity to Roger Nowell's home at Reed Hall. Roger Nowell was able to draw on the Starkeys' experience as a prosecutor during Edmund Hartley's witchcraft trial. Edmund Robinson was an English 10-year-old boy from Wheatley Lane in Fence, Lancashire, who sparked the witch hunt of 1634. Edmund saw a great gathering at Horstone's house, to the number of 80 or thereabouts, as Edmund Robinson thinketh, where they had a fire and meat roasting in the said house, whereof a young woman whom Edmund knoweth not, gave him flesh and bread upon a trencher and drink in a glass, which after the first taste he refused, and would have no more. Several witches made such ugly faces as scared Edmund, so that he was glad to run out and steal homewards, who immediately finding they wanted one that was in their company, some of them ran after him near to a place in a highway called Boggard Hole, where Edmund met 2 horsemen, at the sight whereof the said witches left following of him. Henry Robinson of Old Laund married the bewitched Marie Nutter. Unfortunately, the marriage was not to last. Marie died a year later. His wife had been bewitched by the Chattox family. The examination of Edmund Robinson of Pendle Forest, 10 years of age, was taken to Gawthorpe Hall in Padiham, before Richard Shuttleworth and John Starkey, Esquires, 2 of His Majesty's Justices of the Peace within the county of Lancaster, on the 10th day of February 1633, who upon oath informeth, being examined concerning the great meeting of the witches of Pendle at a house called Horstone's, John and Mary Spencer had been accused and arrested for witchcraft along with their daughter. Between them, they were charged with wasting and impairing the body of John Lee, killing Henry Roberts of Cliviger, impairing the body of Sarah, wife of George Frost, and killing one horse and several other beasts and cattle belonging to Nicholas Cunliffe. It seems that the reason the Spencers found themselves in the dungeon at Lancaster was due to the malice of the previously mentioned Nicholas Cunliffe,